Hello, welcome to Music Industry Monday with Oopsie, I'm sitting away too far, with your boy Avi on the microphone. And today, I have an interesting topic that I picked up just, I would say in the afternoon when I was watching TikToks again. Nowadays, TikTok gives me a lot of inspiration. Hey, Vani, how you doing? I'm going to have a call with Vani tomorrow. It's going to be great. So today's topic is how to make hits explained. And a lot of people might think that's a little bit weird. But I want to go ahead and today, hey Meg, tell you how you used to make a hit, how it was recently, and how it's changing to how it is now. Hey Yo-Yo. Hey IMS. So we're going to look at the timeline generally up to the 70s. Then we're going to look at the 80s and 90s and how it was. And then we're going to look at the 2000s, 2010, and 2020. Hey Lottie. And ahead on how to make hits. On top of that, we're going to be reviewing a little bit of music because some people sent me stuff and I need to review that. So I'm going to be counting on your expertise to kind of like, listen to a little bit of music with me. And also at the same time, we're going to talk about how to make a hit. Very interesting topic. And it started today when I saw a TikTok by Halsey. And she was saying that she was disappointed that her label is not releasing her new single because they are waiting for what they called a viral moment, or for a time when they could fake a viral moment. And the artist was disappointed. And I want to tell you today why they're waiting for a viral moment or a fake viral moment, why that is important, how it got to there, how artists don't have any say in release anymore, what the pros are, because the label actually does understand how things work, and what the cons are for artists. But it all starts in the 70s, and today I'm going to take you on a journey from the 70s to the 2020s. So you can work through with me on how people made hits and how people make hits today. So if you have any question while I'm chit-chatting along, you're all welcome to ask. I usually answer all the questions that people have. And in another part of the show, we're also going to review some music. Let me just... Music history with Avio says, yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Hold on, let me see how many things I need to review. Oh, it's not so many things. I have to review like 10 songs or something, It's not so bad. All right, so I want to go ahead and start talking a little bit. And then when I reach the 2000s or something, I'm going to make a little break. And review some music so we can do an kind of like interesting back and forth there. All right, so how do you make a hit? In order to understand, or at least this what it took for me. We're gonna get into the review mode later. This is what it took for me. I just put my new beats in Discord. That's very good. Always like to hear new stuff. We're going to go back to the 70s. Hey, Scotty. So many wonderful people today here. Thanks so much, guys. If you want, you can still upgrade. Some of you who have money can totally upgrade our Discord server because we're lacking some boosts. So there's totally that. Okay, so the 1970s. If you look at how things were back then, and I want to go here with Elvis Presley as an example, because a lot of people know Elvis, and He's somebody that everybody connects to. So Elvis Presley was just a normal dude. And he was actually recording a song for his mother in a cheap studio booth in a supermarket. As you can tell, that was a time when the only possible way that you could record music was when you went to a studio or to a supermarket that had like a small, like, record a song for your mother kind of thing. And you would pay the studio. They would do most of the work for you. You could bring artists. You could write yourself. You could do all these things. But making music was done centrally. It was done in a studio. The studio many times was owned by a larger company. Sometimes it wasn't. It was an independent studio. So you went in there and you recorded, and you came out usually with a master tape. Sometimes you got an 8-track. Sometimes you got a stereo master tape, depending on what you paid for, etc. That's what you had. And at that time, making multiples of your tapes was not very cheap. So you not only had to put up the money to go to the place to record, you also had to put up the money as an artist to make multiples and to do maybe a small vinyl run, make like 10 white label vinyls or 100 white label vinyls, or duplicate some tapes. But you had to essentially come up with that yourself. So you're covering the recording costs, and then you're covering the multiplication costs for some very simple demo media that you're gonna need to send it out. I'm gonna stop that because it really annoys me when I hear somebody else talking. And from then on, you had, hold on, let me just turn this off here. I don't want the thing to show here to capture. Okay. And from then on, it was up to you to get the attention of the people for your song. And the way that you could do this was essentially 3 groups of people. Everything else was kind of like luck, but there was 3 major groups of people that you had to talk to. The first group was record labels. Unless you were really, really good, it was really, really difficult to get a deal with a record label because it was a different time. So in the very beginning, that option wasn't available for people for the most part. You could send your stuff to labels, but most of the time they would say no. The second option you had was to send your LPs, tapes, whatever you had, or to bring them to a radio station. You could, if you knew somebody at the radio station, you could go there and say, hey, it's my song, maybe you want to play it. If not, you could send it all across America, send your tape to 400 different stations, and hope that some of them play them. That's still something that you did. And some of these radio DJs might play your song, some might not. And the third group of people you talked to were DJs, people that regularly played at parties, at festivals, anywhere, and you would also give them your LP or tape and say, this is my new song, it's my new album. You want to give it a listen and play it. And people very quickly found out that DJs and radio stations and record labels got enormous amounts of these demos. They got, many times, a big radio station in America would get hundreds of these demos every week or dozens every day, and it became almost unworkable for people in the industry to listen to all this stuff. So a lot of the stuff actually really never was listened to. Of course, the stuff that came from labels was listened to, but we're talking about you as a person in the 70s. So at that point, somebody had the idea that whenever they sent a LP or a tape to a radio station, they would put $1 in it. They just put $1 in it. And eventually people found out that, certain artists would always put $1 in their tape. They would always put $1 in their LP. They'd always put a little bit of money into their media so that you at least open the media and you look at it. And then that led to the thing that only those that had $1 in it were listened to, because people were like, yeah, hey, this guy always sends me $1. It's really nice of him. Then it became $10. Then it became $100. Then it became $1,000. And as you can imagine, it very quickly became to where if you ever wanted to be played on radio, or if you ever wanted to be played by a DJ, you pretty much had to bribe them. You couldn't bribe labels because they had more money than you, and you sending them $10 isn't going to change their mind about anything. So the only people that were bribable were radio stations and DJs. And at that time, 70s, 80s, pretty much everybody took bribes. And the cat tripped over the light. Buck. So we're in a situation to where you are recording everything, you are duplicating everything, and then you're bribing people. And if you could do that, and what the? Chatty. Meow. I have a chatty. Whoops. And you had enough. If your song was good, and you paid the right people, your song got into the radio, your song was played on festivals, and maybe you were able to find somebody at a label that was interested in you enough, then you could make people interested in you. And Scotty says, get a white label printed vinyl and say, hey, Judge Schultz, play this in your club. Here's a crisp 50. The year is the 1995. Yeah. And this continued. This balance of power continued for a very long time. Labels, if they had artists, would do the same. They would take the white label print of the vinyl. Dude, you're a bit annoying. You're a bit annoying now. Go ahead. Sorry. And everybody, labels and individual artists, would just make their physical media and send it to the people that needed the physical media to play the song because they couldn't download it or anything. And they would add some money for the people to give them an incentive to play it or to listen to it. And at that time, it became evident that the only way that you were ever going to go anywhere, since everybody was already pretty much paying all the time, was if you were going to go ahead and bribe as many people as you could. Or if you were with a label, the label would do that for you. And it became, at that time, secondary to the quality of your music. DJs would regularly play artists and labeled artists, mostly, where the label or the individual artist or the management would pay them lots of money to play it, and they wouldn't play anybody else. And this led to the controversy that people said, hey, what are you doing? Come on. There's this artist, he's obviously very good, but you're always playing these artists who are not very good. Why is that? And the DJs and the radio stations will be like, well, we think those people are very good. And so it started from being an economy of having the best song, which was very early on. I'm talking about the 1940s and 1930s, but even then there was money involved. But still, to the fact of who could bribe the most people, who had the most money to do the most effective bribes. And today, this is called payola. And now he's on the, okay. Hold on a second. Sorry, cat's jumping around on the set, throwing shit down. I'm not sure what's up with him. And so this became known as what it is now, payola, which means that people that should be neutral are playing music. Can you? Yeah. He's nuts. He's going nuts in the studio. Sorry, guys. To where it went from who has the best song to who can play the most people. And nowadays, for example, in countries like America, payola is illegal. It's actually a federal crime to bribe somebody. But at the same time, it's very funny because everybody does it. There's absolutely no way that you can get anywhere without bribing people. So this was the time of the economy of bribery. This is when people regularly went into radio stations and they went to the hot DJs with thick envelopes full of money. That's when people got cars, people got all kinds of presents, and people got all kinds of stuff in order to blow an artist up and to make a hit. And it transformed from making very good music to being a very effective person in networking and bribing. And this is essentially what continued from the 70s to into the 80s and into the 90s, because the content creation workflow, the content distribution workflow did not change much from the LP to the tape to the CD or anything else. It was still physical objects that had your music on it, and these physical objects were handed to the people that would, physically put them into their playing devices and introduce an audience to your music. Because there was no other way that an audience would Ringo wants to go viral, yeah. That an audience would be introduced to your music. There was no, downloading. There was not even, in the very beginning, there wasn't national television, wasn't such a big thing. People picked up songs from their local radio stations and from the DJs that played on festivals that were around them. So music discovery was very local, You'd have a station in one town play you, then you'd have multiple stations in your state play you, and then it would kind of like grow from there. It was very physically limited. It was physically based. Distribution was physical. Promotion was physical. Everything was tied to a place and a person and a flow of money. There was always cash. So if you had a decent album and you greased enough palms, your thing became a hit. Just instantly. Just normally. If you put enough money in there was numbers floating around that everybody knew, as we do today, how much approximately you need to invest. And if you want to know the number that is valid today, you're going to have to wait to the end of the stream. But if you had that amount of cash, you could make it a hit. It could be anything. It could be really stupid. It could be really dumb. They would just play it until the wheels fell off, and people eventually started liking it, or at least it got some following. It wasn't a surefire way to get success for hundreds of years, or to get global or worldwide success or anything like that. But this is essentially how you did it as a band. Of course, bands were touring. They were playing in local bars, but you can only tour so many bars as a person. The multipliers that radio and DJs were just too important to leave out. If you wanted to be just a band touring and playing to people, it would take you ages. It would take you, ages for people to get to know you as a band. Much the same as it is today, because the ability for you to appear is limited. You can, how many gigs can you physically play and organize? That's a lot of overhead that you're having. So this is the first step on the road to how music is becoming a hit today. It's going from who has the best song to who bribes the most people. And then that was what the music industry was from the 70s, I would say, to the 2000s. And then the internet revolution came to the music industry. This is when, for the first time in history, things changed when, for the most part, Napster, which was the first peer-to-peer sharing software, allowed people to share MP3s and the MP3 technology and the internet to share music, which means you could open Napster just like you open any kind of software today, and you could type in whatever song you could imagine, and you just click download and you got it. It worked a lot faster, easier, and cheaper than Spotify, Apple, or anything today, because it was made by a young person that actually knew about software, and it was made without the intent to make money. It was peer-to-peer file sharing, and peer-to-peer file sharing started the second revolution in the music market. This was the time when Universal, Sony, Warner, and others said that they would make sure that the internet and file sharing would never be anything in the music industry. When they started suing hundreds of thousands of people for millions of dollars, when they said that they will never have an MP3 store, they will never have a store that sells music online, because this is extremely horrible, and it is the end of the music industry, and they would never do that. And then the music industry spent about 10 years just fighting over how music distribution is going to be in the future. And hey, Serby. And people like Coca-Cola started an MP3 store, and it was kind of like a free-for-all. Some people said MP3s and digital music is never going to have a future. Other people said it's the only thing that has a future. There was millions of lawsuits, and at this time, we started to see one phenomenon appear, and that was that all of a sudden, certain people became famous that didn't pay other people off. They didn't pay DJs, they didn't pay radio stations, they were not with a label, not necessarily, they might be smaller artists, but they were being distributed by peer-to-peer file sharing. They were downloaded by people that didn't have to pay anything for it, and discovery of new music started to change from physical objects that are carried to a radio station or to a DJ, and people could discover your music online. You could literally type, I don't know, any kind of music, post-punk music, type hip-hop music, and you as a musician could do that. And on a service like all of the services that emerged afterwards, it doesn't matter if it was Torrent later with the Pirate Bay, if it was the original Napster, if it was uTorrent, anything that was there was an absolute democracy of music. No music was ranked higher. No music was advertised. Beyonce was available just as a VO. On a file sharing service, big artists do not have a larger footprint than independent artists. And this was the time when a lot of people that were nobodies became famous. or became well-placed artists, because people could search and download music for free, completely democratic, with no advertisement involved, because it was still illegal, everything. And people could listen to music. You didn't have to buy it anymore, so you could listen into the album of some artist for a few minutes and see if you'd liked it or not. And if you said, hey, the new Beyonce album is shit, but this album from this weird dude in Iceland is really good, you downloaded the album from the weird dude in Iceland and you listened to it. And the industry was, of course, furious, because all of a sudden the system that they had built and that they were still running, to where they were spending millions on bribing all kinds of people into playing their music on radio, into playing their music on festivals, into later on playing the music on TV. All these bribes essentially were getting less and less valuable, because people were discovering new and, by the way, old music, classical music, Beatles, etc., on file sharing sites. So discovery, this very, very important factor, was slipping from the hands of very large companies and was going back into the hands of independent musicians. Because you could upload your stuff and people would share it, and if they would like it, thousands or 10,000s of people would listen to it. And if you wanted to do that before file sharing, you'd have to pay a lot of money to get that done. And now it didn't cost you a thing. It did not cost you the proverbial dime. You could upload your album and people around the world would download it and listen to it. And independent playlisters started to curate this new enormous amount of music. There was people that made, I'm going to make the workout playlist, and I'm going to make best of hip hop, and I'm going to make this. So you had independent playlisters that would do kind of like mixtapes. They would bundle together certain MP3s, and then you could download the MP3 bundle that playlister had said, this is the playlist. They named it, song number 1, this artist, this song. Song number 2, this artist, this song. And again, that was an unpaid thing. So now you had file sharing as a free radio and independent playlisters as free DJs. And these people, and this was the main problem, could not be bribed. They were obscure people that lived in places around the world, and some of them made playlists, some of them made music, and some of them shared music, and none of them had any mechanism on how you could bribe them. And this was a huge problem for the industry, because now they were no longer able to control how a hit was made by putting a lot of money into it. And so we are coming to the situation of the 2010s. So the first situation in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was with radio stations and DJs that are being bribed into playing your music. The second situation from the 90s to the 2010s was the revolution of file sharing, independent playlisting, and independent music being free and unregulated. And then after the 2000s, what started was that the large companies said, well, we're not going to be able to control and put back the genie in the bottle and make it to where no music is ever downloaded and shared. And they changed their position, and they said, instead of fighting against online music, we will now have to dominate it. And the two things that we need to destroy very, very quickly are free distribution and free discovery. We want it to be to where the people that decide what people hear are the ones paid by us. What do we have to do in order to get that done? And this is when people started forming alliances with large tech companies. They went to the large tech companies and said, look, we're going to make a license deal with you, but we get control of your platform, and nobody who isn't us and who isn't paying can ever be discovered, can ever be played, can ever be promoted. So we want to go back to the system to where it was in the 70s, to where everything works entirely with bribes. And this is what we want to have, because this is what keeps independent music away and what makes sure that our music that is mediocre still performs really well. We cannot have competition. We cannot have free and independent music. We need to end this. They bought participatory shares in Spotify. Spotify actually gave it to them for free. And the first thing that happened on Spotify was that all independent playlists were eradicated. So they killed all the DJs. The second thing that happened was that all the free distribution was ran out of business, because they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it free, so the file sharing systems will be bled dry, because when we make it free and legal, then everybody's going to go on our platform, and once they're on our platform, we are the radio station, we are the DJ, and we will be able to decide what people hear, what they don't hear, what they like and what they don't like, and we are back in the 70s. And this is the situation that we have now in the 2020s. The music industry, the large companies in the music industry, together with the large tech companies, have turned back the wheel of time to where there's only two ways to have a hit. You either have a lot of money and bribe a lot of people, or you're with an institution like a major label that does that for you. And this is how 15 artists make 85% of all the money, because now you cannot be on a playlist anymore unless you pay. You cannot be discovered anymore unless you pay. You cannot be in certain high volume playlists unless you're on a major label. And it's the same situation that was in the 70s when they made a lot of money. And now I'm going to tell you and go back to Party Mix, Napster, LOL, yeah, BearShare, that's right. Now I'm going to go to how does that anything have to do with making hits. From the 70s to the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s, what large companies have always tried to establish was that not the quality of the music dictates if a hit is created, but their access to the market. The only way that they can make sure that whatever they put out is going to be performing at the very least reasonable, at the very best becomes a hit, is to have total control of the market. The music market cannot be fair. And if you want to make a hit, you have to understand how the music market works, and then you have to play it. So in the 70s, I think I elaborated what it is that you had to do. In the 90s, it was clear what you had to do. Now, what do you have to do? Now in the 2020s, and now I want to come back to Halsey and the song. The music industry has again found something to where a lot of discovery happens, and they're not in control of it. And it's platforms like Reddit and TikTok and others that they don't control, because they now control the music distribution. They pretty much, they 100% control Spotify. They pretty much control Apple Music and everything else. There's huge contracts in place to secure that, so nothing gets past them there. But what they found out is that yet another group of platforms are created now where discovery is happening, where people hear music, where people discover new or old artists. And this has triggered the next wave of, oh my God, we have to get a hold of these platforms. So right now, major labels are putting a lot of money into TikTok to make sure that they can get a hold of the platform, that they can make sure that it's only their stuff that gets heard. And they're now working extremely diligent on creating fake viral trends, which means that they will research which kind of stories people like the A, B, C, D, E, F, U, N. That was an old song that was pitched again and again and again by the marketing of that record label. I think the song was like 2 years old or something at that time. And they were always like, hey, make a new song and like count the alphabet. And then the artist would pretend to make a new song. And this wasn't the first try to make things viral. They would regularly do things that are completely fake because they thought that people would react great to it, that somebody on TikTok would make a suggestion and the artist would actually go with that suggestion. But of course, the person that made the suggestion on TikTok was somebody working at the marketing of the major label, and all the accounts that said, hey, such a great idea, were all fake accounts from that label, and then they paid a lot of money to make it go viral. So getting control of discovery is now, as it was back then, the way to make a hit. Not the quality of your music determines if your hit is going to be a hit, but one factor: how many people can you get to listen to your song? The underlying psychological factor is that by the time we've heard a song the seventh time, our perception of the song increases by about 30 to 50%. Or in other words, when we hear something many times enough, we view it more favorably than we did before. The goal in music is to have as many people as possible hear your song 7 times in as short as possible time. This is why you see so many saturation campaigns conducted by majors where they're doing, all of a sudden there'd be a song and they'd play it up and down on the radio. They play that song like 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 25, 50 times a day. It will be blaring from every corner, and you're asking yourself, why the fuck are they doing that? And that is because of the 7-song rule. They want you to hear that song 7 times within the span of a week, because then your perception of it will increase 30 to 60%. And of course, if you're hearing that song all the time, it's the only song you're hearing, So when the menu only has one burger, it's not very difficult to see what people would be ordering. Organic Dumpster Fire says, this is good info. Thank you. You're very welcome. So they're trying to saturate the market. And what they found out now with TikTok is that people watch these TikToks. Granted, they might only watch one TikTok, but now the game is on. You need to hear the song in 7 viral TikToks in 7 days. And that is done by money, and this is something that the labels can do. The thing that they can do is to set up fake marketing campaigns, fake trends, and they can pay off people. And they're like, yep, we're right back to where we want to be, because I can completely fake the shit out of the success of that song, and I can pay a lot of money, and TikTok will play my song to a lot of people, just make it promoted music, So when people come to me and say, how do I make a hit? You could buy my book that comes out soon for like $5, How to Not Suck at Making Music. And in there, you'll find the technical side of how to make a song that could be a hit. Most people don't know how to do that. It's actually not very difficult. There's even more detail. I'm gonna make a second book, how to not suck at making music, how to make a hit or something like that. It will be part 2. I'll go into the algorithms, but that's really not the part. The part that you should be obsessing over as an artist is not buying my $5 book or even writing good music. You need to be able to write and perform and make okay music. You don't need to be more than okay. What is going to make you as an artist successful is if you have the ability to get your music in front of as many people as possible. This is 99% the determining factor that is going to make you either a success or not. And there's various ways to do that, but a lot of musicians generally underestimate how huge the importance of discovery and putting your music in front of people is. 99.5% of the success of your song is going to be determined by its marketing. You can take any shit song, put a regular marketing campaign behind it, and it will chart. Like, it just will. And that's the secret. The secret sauce is money. The secret sauce has always been money. And whenever the secret sauce was not money for a certain time, the people that had money were very, very, very upset. Because the only people that make money in the music industry are the people that have a lot of money. Out of the 5.5 million artists that release music on Spotify, only about 20,000 people can live from it. That's about zero. That's less than 0.5%. Just imagine a situation to where less than 0.5% of all carpenters could live from doing what they do. 99.5% of all carpenters couldn't live from what they do. Will be weird, right? But that is not because there's no money in the industry. That's because it all goes to very large companies. But let's go back to you and your discovery. Calabanza says, take my money, Avio. I want that book. Great topic again. Galabanza, I'm so fucking lazy. I don't have it. I finished it, and my editors read it, and I can only put it out once I put some more work in it. But eventually I will. Join us on the Discord, by the way. I'll let you know when it's ready. So your ability to put stuff in front of people, and where can you put your stuff in front of people? Like on Napster. File sharing, free music sites, TikTok, Reddit, all these things where, of course, the record label and the big tech companies have an advantage, but you still have somewhat of a chance to get in front of people. And the musician of the future is going to be somebody who is extremely aware on how to promote his material, because everybody else is currently getting eradicated. I want to give you the other side of that story. I am having more and more friends who are running labels who are saying, I'm not going to sign anybody anymore unless they pay me for it. Lottie and I had a phone call with a semi-famous person, and they said to Lottie, if it's pay to play, we're not interested. We're not even having a call with you. What does that tell you? That means that this semi-famous person had pretty much everybody in the industry tell him, I really don't care about your master rights. I really don't care about your percentage. Unless you're paying me, you're not getting anywhere. I'm not going to work for you anymore. Artists are going to be in shock that the master rights that they fought so hard for are now going to be worth nothing, because that's what it is. Royalties are zero, master rights are zero, and nobody gives a fuck about your percentages. People are going to say, keep your master rights. You're going to pay me $1,000 a month. You can fucking do it yourself. And in this situation where a lot of people are not going to have $1,000 a month, and their master rights that they can now own all by themselves are completely worthless, artists that will be successful will be artists that succeed in putting their music in front of the biggest audience possible. If you can put your music in front of 1 million people, it will work. If you can put your music in front of nobody, it will not work. And the success of your song hinges 99.5%, and that's actually underfed with data, on your ability to have people discover that song. That does not mean uploading it to SoundCloud or to Spotify. That's not discovery. That's just putting it somewhere. Because by putting it on Spotify, absolutely nothing happens. By buying Spotify Discovery, absolutely nothing happens. By putting it to SoundCloud, absolutely nothing happens. Nothing that you do by putting it somewhere makes anything happen. It's what you do afterwards. If you release an album and you do not obsessively promote that album as the artist afterwards and correctly, you are not going to be successful and nothing is going to be a hit. I have heard people that are so fucking good that anybody that listens to them says, why are you not famous yet? And the answer is very simple, because nobody has heard them. And nobody ever will, because the only thing that Spotify suggests to you are, you guessed it, artists that are signed with their owners, or artists that pay a lot of money. They could be rich. It could be an independent artist that just has $500,000 or $1 million laying around and they want to spend it on their campaign. A typical TikTok campaign per day would cost you around $100,000. A typical zero to hero campaign would cost you anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. But we also know from Adam Levine, who invested $10 million into his career before he finally blew up. So, and this is the number. You're going to have to invest anywhere from $500,000 to $10 million if you want to blow up and become a big artist. If you want to have a singular hit, that amount of money could be as low as $100,000. But it's very, 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 very far away from what most artists have. And there's only two choices. Either you have the money or you do the promotion work yourself. Because for an independent artist, looking forward into the future, the tables will turn. The situation to where previously artists said, give me back my master rights, is going to be a situation to where the labels are saying, here, take your master rights and, choke on them. You're going to pay me because none of you bitches is ever going to go anywhere anyway. 99.5% of you are never going to sell anything, and you're going to have to pay us to do anything for you. Because, quite frankly, if you don't have the money, if you're not Ed Sheeran, Adam Levine, Lady Gaga, all people that come from families that have lots of money, you're going to have an exceedingly hard time in the industry today. And yes, Komuk says the music business is driven by labels with specific agendas, and radio towers independent artists shall continue to support drive against radio thanks to the ecosphere of apps. If radio labels do not support the changing mindset, music will. My hope is that music will return to a more democratic way and outlook. And I want to wrap this how to make hits up with saying that if you want to make a hit, first step is to understand that 99.5% of your success is your own marketing. It's not going to be somebody else's marketing, because if you're listening to this show, you're not big enough to afford anything. Your indie label can help you and will help you, but they don't have anywhere near the resources to replace your activity as an artist. If you're not out there posting your music once every day, sharing it with people every day, talking about it every day on social media, making TikToks about it every single day, you're not going to become famous. The time when you could casually make a song and it hit something and went viral, yeah, it's going to happen. But you literally, and I calculated that, you literally have a higher chance of winning the lottery and becoming rich from the lottery than to become rich and famous from being independent and having a surprise hit on TikTok or something. It happens to 10 to 20 songs every year, but every year 25 million songs are released. If you calculate that down, it's like it's at the very best a 1 in a million chance. I know lottery's higher. Lottery's like 1 in 10 million or something. But you know what I mean, you know. So your statistical chance of having a viral hit out of nowhere is about the same as you winning the lottery out of nowhere. So if you consistently play the lottery, it's the same thing. So I think that if you wanted to have a hit, you would have to understand and write down in your little book what to do and how many people will hear it. If I send my music to this email list, how many people will listen to it? If I post it in the Count Zero Records Discord server, how many people will listen to it? If I put it on YouTube, how many people will listen to it? If I send it to every radio station I know, how many people will listen to it? If I make 10 TikToks with it, how many people will listen to it? And you will then have to come to a number that's greater than 10 million. And I know that's very disappointing, but we don't consider a song a success unless it reaches 10 million plays. Because this is the point where you actually make some money from that song. Before that, you're just covering costs. And with 10 million, you probably will be able to get some engagements. So your goal as an artist is to make sure that 10 million people listen to your song. And if you don't have a plan on how to do that, then you should sit down and you should totally. You're not going to be able to reach that goal in the beginning because you're not going to have anywhere near the reach of 10 mil. But you should have a plan on how to get there. And I can tell you that if you as an artist ever get to the point to where you have a community and fans to where you can put your song in front of 10 million people, you will make it in the music industry. Absolutely. I guarantee you do that. If you make mediocre music and put it in front of 10 million people, you'll do great. If you make excellent music and put it in front of 100,000 people, nothing is going to happen. And this is how to make a hit. The way how to make a hit is to put it in front of 10 million people. I know that's fucking insane, isn't it? But it's totally doable, for example, on TikTok. Just one TikTok could be 30K plays, 100,000K plays, 300,000K plays. If you have a good song and you make 30, 40, 60 TikToks with it, and you run other platforms, you make Facebook, etc., it's possible. I've seen, and I'm speaking from experience, because I've seen the growth of the fan base of Count Zero Records, and we come... Oh, there's something funny. Fort Walt on the Beach says, there's a difference between marketing and the pursuit of art. Why don't listen to much mainstream stuff? Absolutely. And this is the problematic relationship or position that artists are in now. You essentially have to become a full-time self-marketing professional if you want to go anywhere. You cannot be an artist anymore. You cannot sit at home and do something, make something beautiful, because nobody's going to give two shits. If you want to be successful, you should be 99.5% marketing specialist and 0.5% musician. And then people say, well, I have the label do that for me, And watch out. Even small guys like us, we only need the artist for 0.5% of the success. Just imagine what that leads to. I know a lot of producers, I know a lot of singers, and I can songwrite, and I know a bunch of songwriters. I can make a team to make a song that's better than what most people can do by themselves, and it's not going to cost me a whole lot. The marketing person doesn't need the artist. And this is where we are now. The marketing doesn't need the artist anymore, because the art itself has turned so far in the background that it's like an afterthought. We as Count Zero Records Group receive 30,000 demos every year. We can just fucking take our pick. And if somebody doesn't agree to our terms, it'll be the next person. It is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly horrible and bad, because nowadays not the best music comes out, but the music that has the best marketing, and it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. People were like, yeah, with influencers it's gonna be better. No, influencers are fucking paid bitches. There's absolutely nothing an influencer will do for you for free. Do you think any of the dancing girls are going to make a dance video with your music because they think that the song is so cool? Yeah, they might in the very beginning, but they're usually using viral songs. Why are they using viral songs? Because they want to sell their videos and they want to build up an account that has a lot of followers so they can sell their TikToks to brands for money. People generally jump on the successful bandwagon, and nobody's going to really discover you. Okay. Fort Walton says, bottom line, don't quit your day job. Yeah, don't. Just like the guy who made Backstreet Boys and New Kids. Yeah, that was a very interesting thing, because there's a documentary where they're all being terribly horrible about that guy. And I'm 100% convinced that guy was not a good guy. But I'm also very convinced that that guy is the only reason why they are known today. They would still be waiters and car wash salesmen if it wasn't for that guy. So I have a little bit of understanding for both sides. And I do understand that the record industry has a lot of very unsavory characters. But again, in an industry where marketing is 99.5% of the sale, how important is your contribution? They looked good. They literally were recruited because they looked good. Then they were taught mediocre singing and good dancing, just like Dua Lipa today. People want actors. It's literally what an actor does. Labels found out that they don't need artists, they need actors. So the success story today is very large marketing corporation plus actor equals success. There's no more music in the business. The music is an afterthought, and it's made by people who, do this for a living. They just write the songs for everybody. And Galabanza is asking, do you think eventually both artists and marketing will be replaced by AI? Yeah, probably. If so, will this be the actual timeline leading to the Terminator? Could be. The industries that are currently being in danger of being replaced are actors, musicians, and anybody else who is doing any kind of performing art. Because this will be able to be replaced by AI within the next 20 years fairly convincingly. Because music that is successful already follows a very definite structure to where human producers can pretty much nail down what the succeeding ingredients are. And if you talk to a producer who's been a producer long enough and high level enough, they can pretty much run you down on what you need to do to be successful in a certain genre. There's no miracle to it. And what you need is an excellent looking front man or a front woman. They need to be very good looking, and they need to have the ability to dance. And they don't need to be able to sing or make music. That's actually a hindrance, because as soon as they're artists, they're actually gonna start to say, hey, I was thinking about doing this, I was thinking about doing that. And it's not how major labels work. They already have the product. They just need you to represent the product. You're like you're actually more of a salesman than a musician. And the interesting thing is, even if you're indie, that's really what you need to become. If you want to make a hit tomorrow, become a salesman. Best advice I can give you. If you make crappy music but you're an excellent salesman, you will be successful. I always say to the people inside my label, and I can't say everything I'm saying in this regard, but I'm saying the artists that are the most successful on our label are the artists that consistently self-promote the most. And it is unconnected with their artistic abilities. If they look good, it's a huge bonus. But if you were to ask me which artist should you sign, look for somebody who relentlessly self-promotes and who looks very good and is very charismatic. And then just make the music for them. It's the easiest way. By far the easiest way. Because they'll run out there every single day promoting the shit out of stuff themselves and be like, yeah, this is my new song, That's exactly what you want. Song's actually going to be good because you made it yourself. Person is going to look good, so lots of people are going to follow because they just want to see the dude or the girl. And in general, this is how the marketing concepts work. This is exactly how they made Dua Lipa. It's a good-looking person that is charismatic, relentlessly self-promoting, and can dance. Then you have a team of seasoned people who make the music. You have a big company that does the promotion. And that is the succeeding formula. Then anything you make is going to be a hit. Even if you just fart into the microphone and say, ooh, ooh, Yeah, AI is already in process for it. Yeah, Village People, every band, boy band, girl band, diversity band, whatnot, how they were all created was with casting. And with casting, you're looking for the characters to represent. Spice Girls. Yeah, I think producer bots are going to really be a thing. People, there's going to be automatic song generation, and then there's going to be. You will never be able to replace actors completely, because when you have real world events, like concerts, I mean, of course, you could have an AI and you can have a projection of a person, but people are always going to like that. People are always going to want to believe that this is the musician who made the music, even though for the last decades that hasn't been true anymore. Of course, there's musicians that make their own music, but they're the minority. When we're talking about the majority, these people are nowhere near making their own music. They maybe did when they started, but then the label picked them up and said, look, you look good. We can really use you to promote. You have a lot of charisma. And you can reasonably sing and dance really well. But just please don't write your songs. We're going to have somebody write songs for you. And you just kind of like sing to it what you feel like or something. And this is how it works. So the surprising message for today is that if you want to make a hit, you have to become a salesman, and you have to understand that 99.5% of your success is in marketing. And it's not a joke. So how can I... Oh, yeah. The next thing I'm going to tell you, because I just feel like it, and I think it gives the whole thing more value. Milli Vanilli was great. Frank Farian is a genius. He did the same thing before with Boney M and others. There's some extremely smart German producers who just kept doing the same shit over and over. You know, bunch of dancing black people. And the guy just makes everything, and the guys are like dancing, you know? It sounded a bit racist, but I don't think that's the reason what it was. I think they wanted to make it an exotic band with a cool sound, you know? And he wanted to put the public view of the band as far away from himself as possible. So making it a black band, people didn't even really think it was some lame-ass dude from Germany who made that stuff, you know? Because people knowing that this white German dude that made cheesy music, if they knew it, they would not be happy with it. So the point is that if you know that you can make music that internationally succeeds, but your personal brand is shit, then just brand yourself with people that are completely the farthest away from what you are. And that at that time was cool black people, because he was an uncool white dude. I'm 100% sure. And I heard an interview with him. He was he was extremely technocratic and practical about it. He was like, you know, you got to get some good looking people. You got to get some cool people, and you got to get some people that make people not think of me, you know, in the background, because I'm not cool. I need cool people. And this is why to distract his maximum from himself, that he could, and he's not a racist or anything like that. That dude doesn't give a shit about anything. He likes money and fame. You know, I don't think that was, and to a certain degree, you know, everybody wanted to emulate the success of Boney M, which was a huge group. And ran very well by its producers. So that's what people wanted to do. Okay, but the last thing I wanted to tell you about is the journey for us for us as a label of how to get people to listen. So I don't know anybody who is... Yes, Caliban, so pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's right. Yeah, if you want to distract from the man behind the curtain, you got to put the most flashy, most opposite thing in front of the curtain, and if you want to effectively distract. Okay, so I am by far the biggest self-promoter on our label, like by far. It's also maybe because I'm an economist, I worked in marketing, it's actually my job. Probably easier when you're doing it as your profession. But what I found out what was the difference between me and other people was that I was always amazed at how little self-promotion people did. Like, none at all. I would self-promote every day. Even what I'm doing now is self-promotion. It's a type of self-promotion that's very low-key. I am having a chat with you. I'm talking about the music industry, which is something that I like. But it adds value, and people that see the stream are like, yeah, maybe I'll check out their song. Maybe I'll check out their Discord server. Maybe I'll listen to his music. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's also self-promotion. But I would say that I would say that Cygnus is a very good band with self-promotion. I'm not totally happy with what they do in terms of self-promotion. I think it's not effective. But that's another thing. But for the longest time, I was by far the biggest self-promoter. Like, by far. People would, like, make music and then disappear for 3 months. And then they would release a song and then they would disappear for 3 months. And then they would release another song and they would disappear for 3 months. And I would be on social media every day. I would be chatting with this person, with that person. I would be saying, hey, here, posting there, whatnot, every single day, hours and hours at a time, as much as I could. And then people said, well, you got that time. And I said, you know what? The weird thing is, a lot of the other people also have that time. They just don't want to do it because it's annoying. So when people ask me, how is it that you as an artist, before you started the label, became successful? I said it was relentless self-promotion and looking for how can I get a one-up from anybody. And when they say, I mean, if you look at the chart placements, you'll see that me as a part-time producer, a person who hasn't made a song in 2 years, holds a lot of the top spots in our label in terms of performance. How is that? And it's because I'm not better than anybody. I'm just fucking self-promoting. I know knowing the right people, sending it to the right person, all of that. But how do you get to know the right people? By talking to them first. You're not going to meet the right person while you're sitting at home watching Cops. You meet the right people by not watching TV 12 hours a day. And this is the underlying point. If you just sit at home, nothing is going to happen. You have to get out there. And for the introverted musicians, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem for introverted people because, yep, Fort, that's absolutely right. That's why you need a hype man in the band. If you're a band, you need one dude, and he can be completely without talents whatsoever. But he needs to be a hype man. He needs to be a marketing man. He needs to go out there. Let him fucking participate in the band. And when the band performs, he shakes the marimba. Or he does the triangle. Bing! It doesn't fucking matter. That guy is so important to you. The guy promoting your band is the most important guy in your band. You might think it's the singer, it's the songwriter. It's not. It's the guy promoting your band. Even if he's the most horrible musician, just fucking turn off his parts. Tell him you suck as a musician, but you're a valuable member of the band because you're our hype man. And you make us move forward. Respect and have that person. And if possible, too. And if your band doesn't have a hype man, you're going to have a very, very, very hard time. And if you're a solo artist and you're not a hype man yourself, you're going to have a very, very, very hard time. You're never going to get to, and when people say, yeah, this and this guy, rapper, he was just 15, he went viral. Again, lottery ticket. I'm not talking about the 5 guys that get super lucky every year. I'm talking about how can 5.5 million people systematically get success, and it's by self-promotion. Okay, so what I wanted to say is how did I start the label? In 2018, when I started the label in the first year, and I started the label in the middle of the year or something like that, we didn't do much. We signed one artist. I put out 1 or 2 songs, and we had 20,000 plays. So in the first year of its existence, the label had 20,000 plays. And people were literally laughing at me. People were literally laughing at me. They were like, what the fuck? Your whole label has 20,000 plays? And it was true. It was not more than that. And then I worked on it. And I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to 10x this shit every year. So that was from 18 to 19. From 19 to 20, we had 200,000 plays. And we 10x'd it in a year. So we had 200,000 plays. And people were like, oh, come on. I get like 200,000 plays on my video here. I got 200,000 plays on my video there. Whatnot. And I say, that's all well and good for you. But I cannot do it. We just don't have the reach. We were building Instagram. We were building Facebook. We were building playlists. We were building SoundCloud. And many, many, many other channels. And it was an insane, unfucking believable grind of yes, Hard Knocks, I can. Of finding one fan after another. And people give up. No one, and I say no one has, and this is, by the way, what I say when people ask me, what is your number one skill? I say determination. I consider myself to be smart. Some people think that I'm arrogant for it, but my skill that actually helps me the most is determination. Hey, Any Claim, how you doing? Determination, because people are going to make you eat shit for years. So then we go from 200,000 to 2 million plays. And this is when people are like, this guy is fucking serious. At this time, I'm already working for 3 years on my fucking label. I'm working 16 hours every day. I'm over-exaggerating. I'm working 12 to 14 hours every day in my studio, opening 5 international companies, talking to many, many people, and always sitting in my fucking studio on my ass every day promoting shit, talking to people, driving to meet people, saying, hello, how are you doing? You have a wonderful radio station. Hello, you're a great DJ. Do you want to play my songs? For 3 years. And then in the 4th year, and that's the year that we are in now, I said we're going to 10x it again. We're going to go from 2 million to 20 million plays. Holy fucking shit. Are we going to make it? No. Because I always knew that eventually the time is going to come where the 10xing is not going to be possible at that rate, 2 million, 20 million, 200 million, etc., because I'd be insanely rich in 5 years. So eventually you're going to fall off. But we're going to come to I don't know where we're going to come to. Are we going to come to 10 million? Maybe. But what does that mean? That tells me one thing. I know a bunch of people who work as hard as I do in the music industry. And I look at them very closely. And they're about able to accomplish the same amount that I am. I have some friends that are not on the label, but that really do hustle. They really work all the fucking time. And you see success with them. incredibly difficult. Years and years where they're eating shit from all of their friends and all of their family, who is calling them idiots for pursuing their dreams. You're never going to be anything. You're never going to make anything. You are never going to go anywhere with your dumb music, blah, blah, whatnot. I know people who have been eating shit like me for 4 years, and they're all reasonably successful. I know a musician who has, personally, I'd say about 2 million plays a year now after 4 years of fucking hustle. Okay? A fucking hustle. And I know people that do absolutely nothing to promote their music, and their plays are the ones that we acquire for them, that we make happen as a label. Because I figured if you're going to go ahead and go through that hustle, you're going to meet all these radio stations, DJs. You're going to find out about YouTube, Facebook. How does it work? You're going to advertise it. You can use all these contacts not only for you, for like me, but you can just as well use it for other people. And you could fucking multiply that. And that was my idea. All the connections, all the things I'm doing, every success I'm having, I can put another artist's song down that pipeline. And this is what I did, especially with CIG's Moment. And it worked really well. It's what I did with Matt Reed's Silver Waterfall, and it worked really well. And the songs that are pretty good that I run through my pipeline now have the success as if that artist had hustled for 4 years the way that I have. And this is exactly what I had in mind and what I had thought of when I said I was going to do a label. And this is the journey for us. So from 20,000, 200,000, 2 million, 10 million, we're not going to hit we're not going to hit 100 million next year. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, but we will see where we get, and we will see where we will be in 3 years from now. And in 3 years from now, my goal is really to have 100 million plays every year. Because all of that, comes back in terms of a little bit of money, and then, things are going to be better. But at that point, I will have worked at that label for 7 years. And this is what I think a lot of people don't get. If you don't have money, like to the tune of millions, it's going to take you years of very, very hard work to self-promote all the way up where you need to be recognized, where you need to be booked, to where you need to be to where people for the first time in your life are actually paying attention to you. And my biggest advice in that regard, and now I'm going to come to that question that I had here from Hard Knocks, can you share your experience with Spotify and playlisting, is when you start doing that, never pay anybody, absolutely never pay anybody for advertisement. And number 2, have the email address of all of your fans. People that follow you on Instagram are worthless because you cannot connect with them. You cannot send them stuff. People that follow you on Facebook are worthless because it's very hard to connect with them. People that sign up to your email list are like a million times more valuable, because every time I write to my email list, hey, I'm selling this hat, somebody fucking buys something. And that's the point. If you post something on Facebook, people will be like, like 20 people will like your shit and nobody will buy it. If I write something to my email list, I have a new song and a new hat. One guy will buy a hat and 2 guys will buy the song. It won't be a lot. I'll make like $10 off of that. But the point is that these are people that are active for you, that like your stuff, huge difference. Okay, experience with Spotify and playlisting. Now, Spotify is a topic that I have extensively covered in my past streams. And all I can say is, if you're really interested in what I think about Spotify Hard Knocks, then you should probably go to twitch.tv/record label boss, or go to the Record Label Boss YouTube channel, or here on Reddit. And there's a bunch of streams that deal with Spotify. Spotify is essentially an exploitive and evil organization that makes money by stealing money from artists. That's what I think about them. They're incapable, they're outright evil, and they don't give a shit or two shits about you as an artist. I do what I must with them, and the day they crash and burn, I'll be happy to never be on that platform again, and I would happily kick them in the guts. We have, as a label, with over 300 songs, never been added to an editorial playlist. We have, as a label, special tools to where we've submitted every single song that we've made, and we have had about 30 chart placements, and Spotify has never once added us to any playlist, because we are a competing label. Spotify is owned by Universal, Warner, and Sony, and other parties, and they will do fuck shit as to put an artist of a competing label on their editorial playlists. The only reason why they put independent people on editorial playlists is so that it can fill up the playlist with random noobs that are never going to go anywhere, and they usually put you in a second or third tier playlist where you get like 10,000 plays at an accumulated net value of $1, and then they take you off. You will never be on a significant position on a high volume playlist for an extended period of time, which is all three you need. You need to be on a superior position on a high volume playlist for an extended amount of time, or the playlisting is actually worthless. And they specifically don't do this with competing labels or or indie artists. You'll find yourself on some low volume playlist for like a week or two, and you'll make very little of it. And it will not matter. But this is what Spotify wants. Those are competing artists. They're not gonna advertise the competition. Okay. Now, the second thing is Spotify playlisting, and from other sources other than Spotify. And I have to say that I have inside information, and I can tell you that probably about 99% of these playlists are fake. They're using playlist botting, which means they buy people that are usually from Russia, Ukraine, China, places in Asia that have very large click farms, which is essentially 10,000 like mobile phones that would play your song. So you would go in and you would play the playlister $600. They would buy plays worth $200 from a bot provider. You would then get bot plays worth $200, and the playlister would pocket the $400. That was the difference between the 200 and the 600. That is the business model for 99% of the playlisting. Do not buy playlisting ever. It's all a sham. 100% of it. The reason why we can say it's a sham is because we have direct connections with these botters, because we're a label, and pretty much every label uses botters, and the big labels use them the most. So you have any big artist that you know, about 30% of their plays are actually fake. They bought an Asian bot or bought a Russian bot or whatnot, to add some to make it appear like more people like the song than they actually do. And they'll totally blow it out of the water. They'll bot like 1 million plays on it. But since they're the owner of Spotify, Spotify doesn't sanction them because they're the owner of Spotify. Spotify only sanctions small and medium labels, and indie artists, because they don't want these guys to buy bot plays. They're okay with their owners cheating, of course, because they're owners, but they're not okay with everybody else cheating because, that kind of like pisses on their cherry. So I know what bot plays cost, and if you really want bot plays, come to my server and I'll organize bot plays for you. If you get problems, it's totally not my thing, but when you're doing a playlisting service, what's really happening is that people are making their own playlist, then adding fake user accounts to that playlist as followers, and then adding bot plays on it. And they do that for $25 and they charge you $300 for it. That's what happens. So if you have money to spend on advertisement, the absolute best way, and I'm not going to lie to you now, and it is going to sound really fucking weird, is to come to me and to offer me 30% of that money, and I'll actually make real advertisement and real marketing happen for you. The second best thing is to invest in YouTube and Google ads, and the third best thing is to invest in Facebook ads. All of these have much higher return and play rates than anything on Spotify, anything with playlisters. It's complete bullshit. If you don't know where to put your money and you don't know me, you don't want to join our Discord, fine. Run YouTube ads. Run Google ads. Run Facebook ads. Don't do Instagram, they're bitches. And don't do anything else, they're even bigger bitches. Google, Alphabet, generally is the best company for running ads. I suggest you learn that, how to run successful campaigns on Google. No one in the music industry for indie artists, no service provider that you as an independent artist have access to will do better than Google ads. None of them. 100%, I can guarantee you. Because these guys all do one game, and it's like take $1,000 from the client and make ads for 500 and pocket the other 500. That's literally what they're doing. So this whole playlisting thing, I can get you on a playlist with, I don't know, what do you want to have? If you want, I make a playlist for you with 1 million followers and 1 million plays. It's not a problem. It can be done tomorrow. It's all going to be fake, but who cares? So that's what you want. That's good. I count the real plays. People do it for like social proofing. I'm an artist that has 5 million plays. Blah blah whatnot. If that's your approach, that can be done very easy. But playlisting equals fake. I have... Okay, so let me approach this in a different way. The people that I know that are actual playlisters, almost nobody uses because they have very few plays that will be coming your way. What do I mean with that? People that are actual playlisters and have playlists that Spotify still hasn't ruined, to where they have 1,000, 2,000 people on the playlist, usually have like 100 songs on their playlist or something, and these people would listen to a few songs every day. So you're gonna get less than 1,000 plays on an actual playlister's playlist. but it's going to be 1,000 different people that hear your song for the first time. So people misjudge the volume for anything important. If you can get your song in front of 1,000 real people, that's indefinitely worth more than having 1 million bot plays. Because a bot play is worthless. Yeah, Spotify has to pay you for them. So if you want to damage Spotify, buy bot plays, play your own album, and then Spotify is going to be like, yeah, we have to pay him, you know. But this is why they're pissed off about it, you know, because they're going to have to. And by the way, make an album where every song is 31 seconds, because Spotify pays you after your song has been listened to for 30 seconds. So if you were to make an album with 10 songs that are 31 seconds long, and you would just put that on repeat and buy 1,000 bots to do that, they all of a sudden would have to pay you a lot of money. You know? It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be legit fire. Okay, so that's it. By the way, I tried a lot of playlisting services that were done by regular dudes in the classical way, etc. And you can, as a label, pay people to do stuff, but it's outrageously expensive. If you want somebody to actually get your song in front of a significant amount of important people, you're going to be paying thousands. So the hey JD, welcome back. So the most, and this is why they don't work with artists. This is why these services are not even, you as an artist cannot sign up because nobody has that kind of money. Are pears a pretentious fruit? No. How do you promote your artists? Organically. I have for 4 years met a lot of people, and a lot of people I haven't met, but they somehow got on my email lists or on my contact lists, and they accept music from us because we're a label and we don't send them shit. So what you do is you slowly build up a network of people that trust in your brand. Best way I could describe it. I send an email out to 6,000 people. Hey, there's a new song. It's really good. It's EDM. It's made by this guy in Washington. It has a female vocal on it. It's 128 BPM. It's in this key. I describe it. Here's the music video. We're promoting it. If you want to have some cool American EDM, give it a listen. Click here to download the song and click here to contact us if you want an interview or something. I send this to 6,000 radio stations, and 20 of them write back. They're like, hey, that's a really cool song. We're gonna play that. And I'm like, thank you so fucking much. Do you need an interview? Do you need some pictures? Same thing with the DJs. Same thing with the venues. Same thing with anybody else. Have you had any success with Sync? We have not had any success with Sync. As it presents itself to me at this point, the Sync game has also changed. So Sync used to be this thing to where you made like a bunch of music and then people came and bought some music from your database. But the production process now is different. Now you have Netflix, you have Apple, you have HBO. So you have these very big networks that are making their own shows, whereas before you had studios make shows and sell it to networks. Yeah? And companies like Netflix work with a lot of people that make stuff for them, but they also have a different way of working with people, namely that they kind of like work with people more than once. So the best way to get sync nowadays, as I found out, is to actually know the music supervisor of a show. Now, I know a few music supervisors for various shows, and I asked them, what do I have to do for you to be to be successful? And she said, send me the songs, have them be as described as good as you can. You know, this is a upbeat song of 100 BPM in this key. We could imagine this for this and this show, blah, blah, blah. Not there should be it should be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, etc. Send it to the music supervisor, and then you have one thing. You don't know what they're buying for because you don't know what they're producing. So you will never know what they're currently buying for, and they cannot tell you because it's a new show coming up. Unless they're a music supervisor that works on a show that just keep fucking going, like Grey's Anatomy or something, I don't know. And they're doing the 547th season of something. And if you know them really well, they might tell you what they're looking for. If they don't know you, they're not going to tell you what they're looking for because they're just not going to talk to you at all. But I have some people that I'm allowed to ask what they're looking for, and they will tell me. And then you make or send things that are like that. You just send them the fucking MP3s. Just send them the stick, or give them access to a Google Drive where it's all on there. And they're gonna browse through it, and if they think that what that artist outputs, that vibe fits with the show, they're gonna buy it, and then you have a real ticket. Because when you as an artist or a label like sell to sync, a significant sync buyer once, it's really good. I have people that work in sync that took 10 years to get the first sync placement with a show like that. And and what can I say? I mean, it's the same thing as is there. They make sync. They make 10-second clips, 20-second clips, 30-second clips, 40-second clips, hundreds of songs, happy, sad, upset, weird, ethnic, blah, blah. It's a completely different thing than music. Don't think that you're going to like send your songs there and you're going to be successful. They're not looking for a title song from you. They're looking for mood music first. They're going to give the title song to Hans Zimmer, okay? They're not going to hire you for their title song. So they're looking for yeah, that's what you're going to be delivering. And but once you're in, they know you, they think you're a cool guy, then you can progress. And you could be looking into a very decent career, but to break into sync really is super, super, super difficult. Super difficult. And the sync services that you have online just exploit you. They are 100% sham, scam, fucking don't use them. These sync databases, yeah, blah, 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 whatnot. There's a new sync opportunity. 100 people have applied for the sync opportunity, and this person got it, and they made $50 from it. You know, it's bullshit. Save yourself the time, money, and trouble. And instead of going with these fake-ass sync services that you can get online, connect your ass to some music supervisors. Write emails and say, hello, Netflix, person number 1. I am a music making person, and I would love to send you my catalog, especially for the show blah, 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 because I have music that blah, and it fits blah and whatnot. And and this is key for Sync, get a list of the emails and phone numbers, even better, of the music supervisors of the big shows. You're going to have to do that yourself. Nobody's going to fucking give it to you. All of the people that are anybody in the music industry, and I have some people in my phone that are pretty big, you can absolutely not fucking give this to people. If you give out the contact data to any of these people, they will change their email address and they will change their phone number. So you're going to have to be, again, on your own doing it. No online service is going to shortcut it for you. No online database is going to magically create sync opportunities for you. The best way to go, in my opinion, is to get in touch with supervisors from serialized formats, from shows, because shows are great. Shows always need music. Shows make like 20 every season or 40 every season. It's a huge volume. It's a long time. They need to fill it. Don't go to a show like Lord of the Rings or Middle Earth or nothing to where there's already 14 people that are sync superstars working on it. Go to the small shows that other artists ignore. Mediocre, run-of-the-mill, blah, blah, romance, doctor, whatnot. Those are the shows that you're going to have a chance placing. You're not going to get your music in Game of Thrones, okay? It's not going to happen. Start with shows that, you think you get the energy, and make some stuff for it. If it's a cop show, make some cop music. I don't know how to do that. Hard Knocks. Let's say you have an undoubtedly great album. What would be your approach? I would make a music video for every single song. And then I would let out one song by one song over the space of a year. And every time I would send it to all of my contacts, which are now, I don't even, God knows how fucking many. We have a huge database of people that we send it to. And I would fucking support it with massive presence on TikTok and Reddit. Yeah. That's what I would do. Very effective. It requires the artist to be there, doing his thing every single day on all of the social media channels that we put him to. Because artists are always like, aren't you going to do social media for me? Yeah, doofus. I am going to film you in your garden talking about what ham you like, because I'm just going to follow you around all day, right? No, the only person who's going to do social media for you is going to be you. You're going to talk to fans. You're going to show your dog. You're going to play guitar. You're going to say, hello, I'm swimming. You're going to do it. The label we give you the contacts, the connections that you cannot get, that you wouldn't have in 5 years, even if you would be good. And we help with a lot of expertise, advertisement knowledge, things like that. And then supported by social media. And if you did that, you released one video every month for a year, and you totally supported it on social media, I would say that your following would grow significantly in that year. And then you would do it again, and then you would do it again, and then you would do it again, and then you would do it again. And then you would see if you could make it on your own, or if you what would happen. But the chance that you're gonna get famous with your first album without significant money ain't gonna happen. you know. Alrighty, I talked so much. Holy Christ! And I need to review some music. Let me just review this one song that is just. I don't see it. What you feeling now? I don't see it. What you feeling now? I don't need it. And this guy says, "Hey, hello the team. I hope you're doing well. I'm not going to hide from you that I really want to work with you. And this for the following reasons. Your power of communication is very important. I follow you daily on social networks. I love your artists that you release, and I have several friends who have signed with you. Their opinions are very positive. I would love to work for you. I would love for you to promote this track with your label. I hope I got your full attention. Thank you so much." So, okay, so this is something you shouldn't do. This guy obviously has never even mentioned our name once in his email. He absolutely fucking 100% doesn't have a bunch of people who are signed with us. So he's essentially sending us an email, a message pretending like he knows us, etc. Don't do that. Okay? Don't think that people in the music industry are stupid. There is no scam that the typical music industry person wasn't already exposed to. There is no shit we haven't seen. And if you think you're smart by doing this, you're not the first. I literally get this every day. "Hello, team. We like your label. You have very good artists." If you really want to impress somebody with your knowledge, sorry guys, you'd say, "Hey Avio," because this shows that you know who reviews the music on our label. "I really like your new song Estoy. Pretty cool video with the anime. I also love Ken Tucker, even though it's not my genre, but he's a great blues guy." Okay? This is what you write when you really want to make an impression. And then everybody's like, "Hey, that guy really looked us up." If you say, "Hello, team. How is your label? I like your artists." that isn't going to work, okay? By the way, flattery always works. So, there's that. Yeah, don't like it. Okay, what are we gonna tell him? Make sure instrumental parts of the song are in key. They are in key. Quantization. Yeah, it's okay. I would say make this. Make sure you have variants. Song is actually correct. Length. Song structure, I'm not sure. I'm not. Technical recording is okay. Yeah, genre is okay. Yeah, I would give this an unremarkable center feedback. Okay, I'm gonna close this here because I got a bunch of other songs I have to do. I have always some music to review. I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning because I talked a little bit too much with you guys here today. All right, there you go. Back on this camera. All right, guys. It's about 10 o'clock. If you have a last question, I'll be happy to answer it. If not, I would like to point you towards the fact that our label is always, interested in having you listen to our music. If you want to, and it's actually really interesting, you can join us on conzerorecords.com/Discord, because we have a Discord server where we have all the artists and the managers and lots and lots of new people, like young rappers and other people on our Discord server, kind of like a music community. Is really cool. If you have a Discord server, you can use our music bot to play our label's music on your Discord server for free. That's countzerorecords.com/DMB. If you're interested in my show, it's recordlabelboss.com. If you're interested in me, it's avio.com. And if you're interested in the label, it's countzerorecords.com. Best thing really to do is to join us on the Discord server. That's been growing really well too, by the way. And I think Discord is really a great tool and for artists, because you can engage with people and you can hang out with them and you can send them, hey, I'm going to be releasing this, I'm going to be streaming here, I'm going to be doing this. And it's a direct connection you have with your fans. I think it's wonderful. Kind of like here on Reddit. It's also really good. Also, of course, you can follow me on Reddit, and then hopefully you get updates when I stream there. Of course, I'm also available on Twitch and YouTube and other channels as well. But it's easy to find. Many times people are like, how can I find you? And I'm like, Google. And they're like, if I put your name in Google, I find you. I'm like, yeah. Once you've been doing this for long enough. If you type Avio, like AVIIIO, you literally get hits that are like the whole first page is just from me, So it's not that difficult. By the way, that's also another thing. You need to make it to where people search for your name. The first page needs to be all your links. If I do this, hold on, let me do this here. I'm gonna show you. That's another good tip, isn't it? Absolutely think it's a good tip. Let me switch to that. Doodly boom, doodly boom. Okay, so yeah. If you type Avio in Google, you'll see Instagram Avio. Then on the right hand side you'll see Avio musician. Available on YouTube, YouTube Music, Deezer, songs, blah blah, whatnot. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Then on the left-hand side, you have Good Times, my most successful video. Estoy, my newest. Throwdown, one that works really well. Avio on Conzero Records. Avio on Facebook. Avio on FM4. Avio on Twitter. Avio on SoundCloud, on Spotify, on SubmitHub, on Beatport, etc., etc., etc. And this is something that you need to establish so that when people finally know your artist name, and I just punch it in Google, because that's already the first kind of like connection that they have with you, then your shit just needs to like come out there. And then it will be up to if they like your music or not, or if they want to connect with you or not. But making that crucial first page to me was years of work, and now I'm really, really fucking happy, because if you scroll fucking down, it's still me. And then you go, and on the second page, there is one link that is a spectrometer that has the word Avio in it, and then it's again me, and then some weird things, but mostly me, only me on the second page, and then again mostly me on the third page. So this is also what you want to look into, so that at the very best, pages and pages of your own stuff when people type your name into Google. All right, guys, I want to thank you all for being with me today. I'm coming back on Wednesday, on Arpain Day, at 2000 Central European Time for I guess a music industry Wednesday. It's going to be another interesting topic we're going to talk about. We had a very good time today, and some very interesting questions. I want to thank Hard Knocks, Any Claim, Ford, Calabanza, Jess, and New Conditions and many other people that were on Reddit today. I want to thank Lottie, who is always one of my biggest supporters and the label's biggest supporters. She's a wonderful graphical artist, and I'm really looking forward to meeting her in summer for our holiday. I want to thank Yo-Yo, for his continued support of the label. I want to thank Serby for always subscribing. I want to thank Meg. I want to thank especially Vani because she's awesome, and tomorrow I'm going to talk with her. I want to thank Scotty, who is my dude, and I really hope that one day he's going to be really big in electronic music. Certainly a few songs I've already heard from him were pretty good. So we're going to be looking forward to that. So thank you so much for being on. I'll see you on Wednesday, Record Label Boss, another music industry show. And I don't know what to say. Thanks for being on here. I'll see you Wednesday. Go check out my music. And I love you all. See you later.
Червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну.
Oh my God, Serby has taken over Yo-Yo in the... Way to go, Serby.
Ой, у лузі